So, hi everybody. Our special guest today is a great friend of mine, and the one person you want to see when there's doom and gloom in the world, with a big smile on her face, is Jill Allshouse. And Jill, what a career you've had. You know, you've been in education your entire life. You contribute so much to the progression of education generally and learning environments. So we're thrilled to have you on the show today, and we've got some questions for you, of course. Jill, by the way, is an Accredited Learning Environment Planner, ALEP. So I'm sure you guys will enjoy listening to her, and we hope you learn a great deal from this chat. So Jill, the first question, I guess, is tell me about your pursuit of becoming ALEP certified, and why, I guess, did you choose to pursue it?
Yeah, so I, like you said, I've been in education my whole life. But what's funny is that whenever I was a little girl, I either wanted to be an architect or a teacher. And so environments have always been important to me. Environments send such a message to us. They just create such an energy for us and really send this subliminal message as to how we act. And so it's not so much about the design, the decorating aspect of it, it's the design of a space and what makes up all the elements of a space that really affect us as humans. And so I was a teacher for many years, an administrator for many years, and I was very lucky to be in a very progressive school district. And so environments were actually something we talked about often. And so I spent 18 years in this really great school district and then had an opportunity to go work for educational companies, helping them implement really student-driven frameworks like project-based learning and problem-based learning and challenge-based learning, design thinking, and all these really great student-driven frameworks. And that pathway also then led me into working with other organizations. And so I got a chance to work for a really great organization that you know and love, Meteor Education. And they help with schools modernizing their environments. And so I'd always had this love as a child for environments because I wanted to be an architect, but I also had this great love for education. And so, you know, the intersection of these two at this time in my life was something I never dreamed would be possible. And so there were some leaders at the organization, Meteor Education, that had told me about this program, this ALEP certification program. And I really wanted to take an opportunity because I'd loved it as a child, but I didn't know that there were, you know, certification programs for people like me to be able to blend my two loves together. And so it's a very rigorous 10-month course, but the learning I gained from it was incredible. And then it gave me the knowledge to go out to help educators really break down the pieces that's really going to have an impact on students and teachers, because that's ultimately what we want to do.
That's great. So the certificate, I guess, at the end of the day, you get at the end of all this work, it's helped you fill your dreams, because I know just how passionate you are about education and, you know, providing learning environments for all. We're on the same page on that, aren't we? And of course, then at the end of the certificate or the course that you've done, you're helping children, which is and schools and everybody concerned with education, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
it just kind of opens doors because architects, thank you, like architects pay attention to it, interior designers pay attention to that certification program.
Yeah,
and so it just opens doors as well as they're like, oh, okay, cool. She knows a little bit about truly what it takes to have a strong learning environment. So that's another bonus to get it.
And I love the way that you bring architects and educators together, and you almost sit in the middle helping that process, don't you? So it's fantastic, the work that you do.
Thank you.
So I guess the next question is, how do we think about learning environments on a macro level to meet the needs of students and educators?
Yeah, good question. So on that macro level, it really comes, there's so many types of environments you could set up. So yours, when I look at your environment, it's this really cool, clean, modern environment. And so if that's the vision on a macro level of a school district, if that's the vision they have, that's what's going to determine what your environment will be. So on that macro level, when you think about from a leadership perspective, if a leader wants to have a more student driven pedagogy happening in classrooms, then you need your environments to be able to support that. So you're probably not going to have a big teacher desk, which takes up a big footprint in the classroom. You're probably going to have a lot of student choices like you have there. You have like the lower seats, the lower tables, you have some soft seating, you have some chairs back there that are nice and colorful, and then you have some, some of the wooden boxes also that students can move around and just select. Because if that, on a macro level, if that's what you're going for is more student driven pedagogy, then you want to have choice in your space so that students have that. If you're a leader and maybe you have a school that you want that more legacy, that more traditional style, then that's going to dictate what your environments look like. So you are probably going to want to invest in a chair for every student and a desk for every student and a teacher desk for every student. But you want to make sure that from that macro level, that the vision for the teaching and learning is what's driving the environment and what you put into the environment. So I hope that gives some insight into that question, the macro level.
Yeah, I think it does. And I hope our viewers are as excited about listening to you as I am, because I learn so much every day. I listen to you, Jill, and so it's always a thrill to get re-educated and almost reminded about the work we should be doing and creating these environments, as you say, with kind of a mindset and a buy-in from the school districts, the schools, etc., and make sure we're all on the same page, I guess.
Right.
So next question, I guess, what should every human consider as they want to be most productive in an environment, in a learning environment?
So that's a great question. It's probably my favorite question so far, because when I went through that ALEP certification program, there were so many great things that I learned, but my favorite thing was learning that every human has their own environmental learning preference. So when I went to college to be a teacher, I learned that every human, we're kind of more drawn, we have a learning style or learning preference, whether it's we tend to gravitate towards auditory or kinesthetic or visual learning. That's what we gravitate towards. But I didn't know that every human has an environmental learning preference. So Darren, I'm going to have you go through the 4 elements that make up our human environment learning preference, and we're going to determine what yours is right now. So I'm going to ask you some questions and just kind of have you think, and then we'll talk about it. So the first element is sound. So Darren, when you think about yourself and you're doing a really cognitively demanding task, like if you're getting ready to launch a new product and you've got to go through marketing material and you've got to have a real critical eye, what level of sound do you need to be most productive? Are you on this end of the spectrum where it's like, I need dead quiet, I need no noise, or the other end of the spectrum where I need some music on, I need the television on, I need some type of noise, or are you somewhere in between? What level of sound do you need?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question, especially for a music guy.
All right. Right.
So I suppose the obvious, I like sound. I don't like to sit in a bubble. I like to feel things are going on around me, and that gives me a kind of comfort factor. As you know, from a music background, so yeah, I come to my house or office, and I'm afraid that the music's cranked up, and that gets me going, and it gets my thought process going. It inspires me. Yeah.
Okay.
But
beautiful.
I would also say, there are times where being very calm is also important to me. So having those key choices is key for me personally.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next element, so we found out about sound. Now let's talk about light. So again, you're doing a cognitively demanding task. Do you like no light, like maybe no overhead lights, just an open window? Or are you on the other end of the spectrum? You want overhead lights on, you want some lamps on, you want the windows open, all the light, or are you somewhere in between with regards to light?
Oh gosh, this is another great one. When my wife watches this, she'll be interested, because during COVID, we've been in a lockdown situation in our apartment.
Yeah.
I like lots of light.
Mm-hmm.
I like, lights on, daylight, nice and bright. My
Mm-hmm.
wife, however, likes it the other way around.
Yeah.
So she's more, turn the lights down a little bit,
Yep.
etc. So
Yeah.
another interesting
It's so funny
point.
because so far we're both aligned, you and I are, and it sounds like our spouses are aligned. So I need lots of stimuli. I need music on or the television on. I have on an overhead light right now, lamps right here, because I need a lot of light to be productive. And my husband is the opposite. So it is very interesting during COVID times how each person, needs the certain stimuli to be most productive in their environment.
Yeah,
Okay, so those are the first two
fascinating.
elements, Darren. The third element is temperature. So again, you're doing a cognitively demanding task. Do you need it to be nice and crisp and cool in the space, or do you like it to be nice and toasty warm in the space, or in between? What do you think?
Right. This is another COVID one. So it's the, the, the husband and wife thing in the apartment thing is relevant again. So I like to be fairly warm, not
Oh,
too, chilled. My
okay.
wife likes the air conditioning, turns right up.
Right. So this is one where actually I side with your wife. I need it to be really, really cold. And I think my husband just cares about what's going to be the most energy and cost efficient for us. So that's what drives him.
Yeah. That's interesting as well, because we've been just digressing very slightly for a second. I like to get outside and I'm quite happy working in the heat outside. And my wife is not so much. So
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm not either. That's so interesting.
isn't it fascinating
Yeah.
how
And
we're
then
all
the
so
fourth,
different?
exactly. And the fourth element, the final element to figure out is what type of seating situation do you need to be like most productive on a cognitive task? Do you need a proper desk with a proper chair, or do you that's on the formal side? Or on the other end of the spectrum, do you need an informal situation, like you can sit on a couch and have your laptop on a pillow and you can work and have papers spread out? Or where do you fall?
Yeah. I fall into, I like to work in different spaces. I like to look for stimulation, creative sort of kind of stuff that's going to, it comes from the jam session type of thinking that I've kind
Right.
of has formed my personality and career, I guess. So,
Yeah.
yeah, moving around, I'm a bit of a fidget. This is easy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Interesting enough, again, at home, Sam, my wife, is in a task chair, very focused,
Yep.
so we're again different.
Yep. Well, it's so now you know your environmental learning preference. Those four elements make up your environmental learning preference. And you and ours are very similar, it sounds like, because you need sound, I need sound. You like lots of light, I need lots of light. Temperature, you fall towards the warm side, I fall towards the cool side. And then for seating, I'm also like you. I do not care for a desk all day in a chair. That just doesn't help me be productive. I like to stand, I like to move, I like to sit on the floor at times, I like to stand a lot. And so every human has those four elements that help them be most productive. And so if you know that, then it helps you determine, what do I need to do to set myself up? And I love doing that activity with teachers. This is pre-COVID days, of course, but giving students opportunities to figure out what their environmental learning preference is. If they don't ever have a choice and they're always going to be in a room with no lights, they don't know if light helps them be more productive. At school, a temperature is very hard, and even at home, temperature is hard to get to choose. But sometimes if you take students outside, like you said, let them experience that. Some students are going to thrive, and some are not going to like it because they're going to be too focused on how they feel temperature-wise. But especially that seating option. Seating. If students realize that, oh, I love to stand, then I hope that teachers are giving students opportunities to experience that, so that eventually it comes to where the teachers are introducing a concept. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do today. And I hope that the student can advocate for him or herself and say, Miss Allshouse, I actually really need a lot of light. Do you mind if I go stand by the window to get this done? Great. Please go. If that's what's going to help you be most productive, I want you to go do it. If you need lots of sound, great. Okay, you know what, Miss Allshouse, can I go out into the hall, to the library, the commons area to go work? Yes, great. Go do it. So I think it's probably the most key thing I remember learning that helps me as a human, and then will also help every teacher help their students to be most productive.
That's great, Jill. Can we talk all day? I love
Yes,
listening
please.
to you.
Yes, please.
I'm learning so much.
Good.
All right. So let me just remember what my next question is now, because I'm so excited about the last.
Good.
Okay, so what can learners consider about their home environment as we embark on remote learning?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to tie it back to what we just talked about, was that you know, if you have had experience, hopefully as a student, and you know that you need lots of light, or you're just drawn to light, then I hope that you can carve out a little space for yourself at home. So just like you, I travel a lot for work, and so COVID really shifted my lifestyle and everyone's lifestyle dramatically.
Sure.
And here at our house, we don't have a place set up for me to have a proper area to work. So I know my environmental learning preference. I know I need light. I know I need noise. And the best place for me that I found and gravitated towards is upstairs in our house in the dining room, but it doesn't have a nice professional backdrop. It's quite honestly, it's our home, it's our bar. So that doesn't work for my work life.
I want to come to your house.
So I had to set up my little office downstairs in the basement, which it's nice and cool. Yes. There's no light, which, you know, I need light. So I had to invest in a couple of little lamps. I have one window and then one little grungy overhead light. So at first I was like, I can't focus here. For some reason, I can't focus. And then I remembered, yeah, Jill, because you need light. So I bought a couple of lamps, and that's helped. But I also need stimuli. I need noise. And down here, it's like crickets. So sadly, one of my devices most of the time has Netflix playing on it, just to give me some background noise, because I have to have that. So I think if we're at home, if you can just figure out what it is you need to help you be most productive and carve out a little space for yourself, if that's just a little corner if you're one of the people that needs lots of darkness and no noise, find a little space for yourself, carve it out so you can make that your own, because we're very limited at home. But if you know what's going to help you be most productive as far as your environmental learning preference, try to carve out a little space for yourself that's going to help you be most productive. I hope I answered that well enough, Darren.
That's great, and really important right now in the times that we're in. So thanks for that advice. So I guess you know, moving around and instead of getting, you know, comfortable just in one spot, might be worth just changing different spaces and seeing how you experience those different areas of your home.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I guess for kids, it may be an opportunity to learn a little about this stuff, and that's interesting as well, isn't it? You know,
it is. Yes.
Yeah, the whole psychology of everything.
Exactly.
Okay, so key question, Jill. Okay. I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
So why are you so passionate about learning environments?
Well, I think it's obviously started when I was little. I don't know what it was about environments that I was drawn to, but I do know that environments send a message. So, so for example, there are some movie theaters I go to, and every chair is facing towards one screen. There's no place to put my drink or a snack. So the environment is telling me you're here to listen and look and be quiet. And then I go to other kinds of movie theaters, and there's a lounge chair with a little lamp and a place for me to order some food and even a little place for me to have my food. And that kind of movie theater tells me, sit back, relax, enjoy some food, stay here a while. So those two environments tell a different message. There are some parks that I go to that don't have any playground material. And then there are some parks that have lots of playground material. So one park tells me, it's probably maybe not suited for little children to go play and be free. It's just more of a serene park. But then another park tells me there's lots of toys. Kids come, kids go, be free, go play. So I've just always been very drawn to what an environment tells me. I look at your environment right now and I think, it tells me go, experience, play, move around. If I went to other, showrooms or if I went to a school and there's 20 desks and 20 chairs that match, it tells me, look at the front, you're going to listen, be quiet. So I've just always been really drawn to that. And I see how it tells teachers how to act, which then tells students how to act. And that energy gets taken on immediately without any words needing to be said. And so I love anything that helps students be successful. And environments like the one I see you sitting in tell students, go, play, get hands-on, make your noise, or go find a corner. Because I'm really passionate about students getting to be themselves and getting to experience. So I hope that helped it. I could spend forever talking about that question.
I could spend forever listening too. I've got to say, for the benefit of our viewers, Jill explains to the Muzo team what we do better than we explain it ourselves, which is absolutely fantastic and always a joy, absolute joy to work with you, Jill.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I know how busy you are.
Happy to. Anytime. I love talking to you, Darren.
I love the pictures behind you.
Thank you.
Could you just explain for our audience who's on the wall? Because I'm sure everybody's fascinated.
Oh, sure. So some creative geniuses that inspire me. So Jim Henson, who started the Muppets, and then directly behind me is the artist Pablo Picasso. And then off to my left over here, we have the brilliant Albert Einstein. So 3 geniuses that very innovative.
Great. And well, it's been inspirational again, Jill. Thanks so much. We look forward to seeing you again soon. And all the Muzo team say hi.
Please tell them I said hello. Please give them all my love.
All right. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Darren.